That night, they were in their room when Ifeanyi felt a sharp pain on his head. It felt as if something was crawling somewhere inside his head. He felt dizzy. He staggered to the bed and laid down. Nkem felt the same way. That was the moment Ngọzi cast the spell. The two boys, once well-behaved and obedient, began to act out in increasingly disruptive ways. They created problems in their home and school, always fighting their teachers, defying authority, and making life unbearable for those around them. Hi lovelies, I bring to you another interesting story of Ngọzi, the wicked sister. In a faraway village lived a woman named Ngọzi. Ngọzi was known throughout the village for her cunning ways and deep sense of entitlement. She and her husband lived in poverty, yet she kept on giving birth to children like her life depended on it. She had 10 children. Ngọzi's brother Chike was a wealthy and respected man known for his generosity and success. Ngọzi always believed that Chike's wealth rightfully belonged to her. She never contributed anything to his education, but feels she is his responsibility, and that is why she hates her brother's wife so much. Initially, Chinwe, Chike's wife, tried so hard to be in Ngọzi's good book, but when she saw how dubious and entitled she is, she started to avoid her. Ngọzi sees her brother as her meal ticket, and so she went ahead and had 10 children, despite his repeated warnings that he could not afford to raise her many children. Her brother kept on telling her that him and his wife chose to have 2 kids because they want to give their kids the best and also enjoy a good life, so he wouldn't accept her burdening him with so many kids. Desperate to ensure her children would benefit from her brother's wealth, Ngọzi hatched a wicked plan. She visited an old witch who gave her a charm to use on her brother's children. She wanted to make them useless, so her brother would see her own children as the reasonable ones. She cast a spell on Chike's 2 sons. That night, they were in their room when Ifeanyi felt a sharp pain on his head. It felt as if something was crawling somewhere inside his head. He felt dizzy. He staggered to the bed and laid down. Nkem felt the same way. That was the moment Ngọzi cast the spell. The 2 boys, once well-behaved and obedient, began to act out in increasingly disruptive ways. They created chaos in their home and school, always fighting their teachers, defying authority, and making life unbearable for those around them. The situation escalated quickly. Ifeanyi and Nkem's behavior became so extreme that they were expelled from school. They started following the bad boys in the area and started drinking and smoking. Their father took them to see a psychologist. They were placed on therapy, but there was no change. Then they started moving from one prayer house to the other. Chike was heartbroken. He kept thinking of what could possibly be the problem with his 2 children, that the 2 of them started misbehaving at the same time. Chinwe, their mother, kept on praying about their situation as she believed it was a spiritual problem. One day, Ifeanyi and Nkem fought their father. They took the money he kept in his wardrobe, and when he asked them, Ifeanyi slapped him and Nkem pushed him down. Their mother stood there crying and begging them to stop beating their father, but they didn't listen to her. Unable to manage their unruly behavior and overwhelmed by the trouble they caused, Chike decided he could no longer care for them. Heartbroken, he abandoned his sons. Soon, Ifeanyi left the house and went to live with the bad boys. Nkem agreed to stay at home, but was so much of a big problem to the family. Chike redirected his focus to supporting Ngọzi's children. He took up the full responsibility of paying their school fees and feeding them. Three got admission into the university, and Chike told them they were free to visit whenever they wanted to. What surprised Chinwe so much is how her husband see no wrong in whatever his sister's children do. But if it were to be any of her sons, he would shout, scream, and quarrel. Ngọzi's son develops the habit of spending his school fees on girls and drinking. Chike never scolded him. He would rather give him a little warning than give him another money to pay. Ngọzi and her children now live in their home like it is theirs. And never for one day had Ngọzi ever asked Chinwe of her kids, their whereabouts, and how they are faring. Chinwe was deeply troubled by the situation. She has prayed and nothing seems to be happening. So she decided to go to her maternal home and see one of her uncles, who is a great dibia. Immediately her uncle saw her. He told her to wipe her tears, that her storm is over. Her uncle stood up, and after doing his incantations, he told her that for Ngọzi to have the mind to touch his niece's children, that he would deal with her. He also told her that Ifeanyi and Nkem are trapped in a dark storm, battling shadows that put them in chaos. The source of their troubles was a malicious spell cast by Ngọzi, who had long harbored ill intentions towards her and her family. They performed cleansing rituals to help rid her sons of the spell influence. Slowly, the spell's grip on Ifeanyi and Nkem began to loosen. Ifeanyi got himself. He couldn't believe or understand what he was doing in the ghetto, looking so dirty and unkempt. Have I been smoking? He asked himself as he stood up and went straight home. His father was shocked when he saw him. He ran to his father and hugged him and asked after his mother. Chike told him she went to her maternal home. As they were talking, Nkem came home too. There was a change in behavior, and the once chaotic boys started to return to their old selves. Chike noticed the positive change in his sons and sought to understand what had happened. Chinwe came home and exposed Ngọzi's dark secrets to her husband. Chike felt so much pain and cried. What exactly did I do to Ngọzi to deserve this wickedness? I take care of her entire family. I warned her about reproducing a small village in the name of childbirth, but she refused. And now she wants to render my children useless while I train her own kids. It's not even like she's a widow. Realizing the depth of his sister's trickery, Chike was both furious and saddened. He confronted Ngọzi, laying bare the consequences of her wicked actions. Ngọzi, you have really taken my kindness for granted. You are mean and wicked, and I pray you rot in hell for your selfishness. Faced with the truth, Ngọzi felt deep remorse. She sought forgiveness from Chike and Chinwe. She promised to abandon her wicked ways and cease her manipulative schemes. Chike, though hurt, willingly forgave her and still made it known to her that her children are not his full responsibility and he can only help when he wants to. They all made up, but the family never remains the same again. Moral lesson: entitlement and deceit leads to one's downfall, while integrity and repentance pave the way of redemption and reconciliation. It emphasizes the importance of honesty, the consequences of malicious actions, and the power of forgiveness in healing relationships. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories from Amaka's Folk Tales. Bye bye.